Last time in this verse, we have begun discussion. So we discussed these two words, dhimahi, and also the word param. So let's begin the further discussion now, the most important discussion on the characteristics today. Before that, we will just recite the words. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. Okay, so just sharing the screen. All right. Translation. Anyone would like to read translation? Yes. Yes. Ekambaram Padmini, Mataji, you can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Translation. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is absolute truth and the primordial cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the greatest sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusionary representations of the water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifest by the reactions of three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusionary representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
Yeah, thank you very much. All right, so in this verse, we have discussed some things in the last session. We have discussed about the dhimahi, the verb that dhimahi, and all the philosophical ideas that are presented through the word dhimahi, right? That it is plural, and Vyasadeva is exhorting, urging all the disciples and students, every conditioned soul practically, to come and meditate on the Supreme Lord. So that's how dhimahi is also it is actually an instruction for all of us to meditate on the Supreme Lord, not just get caught up in studying the Vedic scriptures, but the purpose of studying is that one should meditate and serve the Supreme Lord. So all that sense is coming out through Dhimahi. We also talked about how Dhimahi defeats this idea that there is only one substance called Brahman. No. Meditation means there is someone who is meditating and someone on whom the meditation is being done. So these are two things. So naturally it defeats Mayavad or Vivartavad or Ekajivavad. These are all different versions of Mayavad philosophy. So that idea is defeated again by Dhimahi. It also shows that Dhimahi also shows that absolute truth does have a form, because naturally the meditation on form is easier. So why would Vyasadeva recommend a difficult path, right? So this is how in verses, actually the words themselves will bring out great philosophical insights. It's important in a traditional methodology that you focus on the words of the verse, because they bring out the philosophical ideas. Oftentimes, we may want to sort of get through the verse very quickly and then come to the discussion. But the point is the discussion itself stems from the words. And the words, they are revered by our tradition. They are revered by the acharyas. They are revered by Srila Prabhupada. And those words, they will give us the philosophical sense. So, especially for first three verses, we are trying to see things in that detailed manner. As you go ahead, we may not be focusing on every single word of every verse. That's not needed also. We will primarily see the theme of that particular verse. But the first three verses, yes, they are very, very important, and you will learn so many ideas through these verses if we can study them scrutinizingly. So the whole purpose here is to study these first three verses in a very scrutinizing manner. Once that's over, then it's going to be a very straightforward, very simple, quick presentation through rest of the verses, and in fact, the rest of the canto itself, like that. So that's how the first three verses we are seeing in great detail. Okay, Dhimahi is also imperative. So it's a prayer which is telling everyone to accept meditation or bhajan of the Supreme Lord as the topmost Purushartha. Then we also spoke about the aspect of Param. Param shows that this meditation is on the highest. Uh, so if you talk about highest, then it's not a meditation even on Paramatma, because even Paramatma is a partial feature, right? And what to speak of Brahman, which is even yet lower feature, you could say, because Brahman means that feature of the Lord which does not talk about energies. Paramatma is that feature where you talk about material energies, and Bhagavan is that feature where you talk about all the energies, including the spiritual world and spiritual energies. So that's the highest thing, and that's what Vyasdev is saying. Meditate on that truth which is highest. So by highest, it obviously means that meditate on that Sri Bhagavan, that Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, uh, along with all his energies, the spiritual world, and his beloveds, and his associates, and everything. So this is how those two words we have seen. Now we go ahead. So two kinds of characteristics of the Supreme Lord, they are spoken in this verse. Swarupa Lakshana, Tatastha Lakshana. Intrinsic characteristics and extrinsic characteristics. So we have already had discussion on this. What are these characteristics? So now that you are aware of the concept, so we directly move to the which one is Swarup Lakshan, which one is Tatastha Lakshana. So we gave that example, a crow or a monkey sitting on Devadatta's home, right? Traditionally, this example is given in the Nyayas also. So Swarupa Lakshana, intrinsic characteristics, and that is shown by the word here, Satyam. Uh, Satyam, that's the Swarupa Lakshana here. And then the other phrase also, which is Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam. These two are Swarupa Lakshanas here. Satyam and Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam. So Satyam, it is a feature, or it is the characteristics of the Lord which is always present. In this verse, as we said, we are defining the absolute truth, right? So that absolute truth is being defined by telling Swarup Lakshana and Tatastha Lakshana. So Satyam is that characteristic of the Supreme Lord which is actually ever present. Lord is truth. And what does it mean that he is truth? It means that he is Satchit Ananda. Satyam. He is not having uh, any material affinity or any material constitution within his personality. Lord is transcendental, Satyam. And he is the truth. He always exists at all places, at all times. The definition of Satya is that which exists in all places and in all time, at all times. That's Sarva Desha Kala Varti. That is Satya actually. So as a Jiva, as a living entity, we also exist for all the time, right? It's not that we were not there before and we will not be in the future. Only now we are existing. No, we are always existing, right? Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadita, Krishna also said. But we don't exist in all places, right? We don't exist in all places. The Jiva is sthano. He is situated at one place. Of course, they can travel all over. Sarvagataha, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. They can travel everywhere. But like when a living entity is present here, it's not that living entity is present there also in some other place. So we have a spatio-temporal sense, space and time. We are existing at a certain time, and then we are existing in certain space. And we are eternal, so in that sense, we are also existing all the time in different bodies, depends on whether that is a conditioned soul or a liberated soul, whatever. But Satyam means that which exists at all place and all time. So that definition that applies to the Supreme Lord only. And within that also Param Satyam. Uh, that within that also the highest manifestation of that Satya. So that's how this verse is referring to Sri Krishna. Because even other incarnations of the Lord or features of the Lord, they are existing, right? In all the Vaikunthas, Narayana is existing all the time, all the place, everywhere. But Param Satyam, it is also further qualified. In all those forms also, which form is the highest? Like that. So then in that particular way. So that's the meaning of Satyam actually. Uh, So, although the material creation is false, Sridhar Swami says it appears real because of the absolute truth being real. Huh? So, this is how absolute truth, the Swarup Lakshan is being described. Although material creation is false in the sense it is temporary. Now, here we can bring up that discussion of temporary versus false. So, when we talk about, like Prabhupada also wrote in the translation, right? Material universes, they appear to be factual, although they are unreal. So by that unreal, what we mean is they are temporary, they don't exist for eternity. But because Supreme Lord is eternal and this material world is also his energy, because Lord is Satya, because Krishna is Satya, so this material world appears also to be Satya because it is his energy. That is the point. Although it is not Satya in the sense it is not eternal, it is temporary. Like simple example Prabhupada would give. If you are standing on the bank of a river and if there is a mango tree on the bank of a river, so what happens? There is a reflection of that mango. Imagine some mangoes are there on the tree. So those reflections, they appear there in the river, in the water of the river. And those reflections also appear to be real. They appear to be real mangoes, right? But what if somebody tries to jump in the water and catch that mango? Is it possible? No. So you see, because the original mango is there on the tree, that is why the reflection appears to be also reality. Otherwise, what is real is actually only the mango which is there on the tree. The reflection is, it is being seen, but it is not the substance. It is not the substance. The substance is there on the tree. If you want mango, then you should climb on the tree and get it. Not that you get it in reflection. Although we are not denying that reflection exists. If it was Mayavad, they would say, well, reflection doesn't exist only. They would say there is nothing sort of reflection. Then what are you seeing? Oh, no, no, you are seeing something, but it is not there actually. You're just imagining it. No, but we don't say that reflection is being imagined. No, it's there. Actually, it is there. But if you think that the reflection is only the real mango, that's the problem. Uh, then it is going to be a very miserable end for the living entity. So this is the difference between the ideas of Mayavad and Vaishnavism. Mayavad thinks that this world doesn't exist only. So then what do you experience in this world? Well, they say it's something like a dream. It's actually not true. So it is just imagination being done. Like you see a rope, and then you imagine that it is a snake. So it's just imagination, right? So similarly, you see this world and you imagine that it exists, but it doesn't. This is Mayavad philosophy. But actually, it is not right. See, not to recognize our own existence in this world, it is the highest form of stupidity. Uh, If one thinks that we don't even exist, I'm not talking to you, you're not talking to me, what sort of thing is that? Uh, then what sort of even a discussion we can have? No sort of discussion, nothing. That's how their philosophy is that just keep silent because there is nothing to talk about, because there is no one to talk about. There is only Brahman and nothing else exists. So the ideology is actually, it has a lot of verbal, it has a lot of word jugglery and all that. But idea, if you take it and, you pin it down, you realize that it is a worthless philosophy because it finally negates your existence also. It says that you don't even talk and I don't even hear because what exists is only Brahman and nothing else. So, Vaishnavas, they don't consider that this material world is false. They consider that this material world is not what it appears to be. It appears to be eternal. It appears to give a great deal of joy, uh, material relationships, material things, material resources. We feel like they will give a great joy. They will stay with me for a long time. They will stay with me for eternity, but they don't. Things don't survive. Things dwindle and degenerate and finally get destroyed. There are the six vikaras, six transformations that happen in the material world, right? For any material thing. Jayate, it appears, asti, stays for some time. Vardhate, it grows for some time. Parinamate, it produces some byproducts. Apakshiyate, it dwindles, and vinashyati, and finally it is destroyed completely. So this aspect is there, but this aspect is not there in the Supreme Lord. Uh, he remains that Satchit Ananda, he remains that transcendent personality. So because he is real, so his material energy that also appears to be so real, exactly like him. It appears to be promising the same enjoyment as he gives or his, bhakti gives. So that's the meaning of, although the material creation is false, it appears real because of absolute truth being real. So the spiritual world is real, Lord is real, the associates are real, but their reflection in the material world, some sort of perverted reflection, that is not real in the sense that it will not give that kind of satisfaction, joy, pure satisfaction that's meant for the jivas. But we don't say that material world does not exist. That will be Mayavad. If we think that material world doesn't exist, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This world is mithya, false. That's the line of Mayavadis. No, we accept the material world is real, material energies are also real. Of course, Lord is real. That there is no difference of opinion on that by Mayavadi or uh, devotees. Of course, they call Lord as Brahman, but they don't call him as Bhagavan. So you understand that's the difference between the two ideas. So example of mirage, water, and glass is being given. That example shows that because the glass is real, so the impression that glass is being seen as water, that also appears to be the truth. But actually, what exists there is glass. See, this example, it is used for the purpose of telling that how one thing is seen for another. You see glass and you think it is water. You see water and you think that it is glass. You see fire and you think that it is water. So that's the bewilderment that happens. Even the great people are bewildered. So in mirage or in seeing water as glass or glass being seen as water, what is truth is the fundamental. What is below there, what appears is not true, but what is below there, in Sanskrit it is called adhisthana. Adhishthan is true. It is truth. It is satya. Foundation is satya. The appearance, that which is appearing, vivarta or adhishthit, that is not true. Uh, so, of course, this example is also very much liked by the Mayavadis, because then they can say that only Brahman exists and nothing else. But then the point is this, that if Lord is real, why would his material energy be not real? It can be temporary. I mean, manifestation can be temporary. But why should it be false? Uh, why should it be false? If Lord is real, his energies are also real. So naturally, the manifestation of that energy is also real, whether it is material energy manifesting or spiritual energy manifesting, it is real. It is just that it is temporary. So that's the idea, and you can see Prabhupada within his purport, he very clearly speaks about this idea. So yeah, I'll just Narhari Dev Prabhu, you can read Prabhu this highlighted portion that you
Yes,
see on the screen.
yes, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of the Swarupa of the Lord manifested by his internal potency. And this potency is distinguished from the external potency, which has manifested the cosmic world, which is within our experience. Srila Vyasadeva makes a clear distinction between the two in this shloka. Srila Vyasadeva says herein that the manifested internal potency is real, whereas the external manifested energy in the form of material existence is only temporary and illusory, like the mirage in the desert. In the desert, there is no actual water. There is only the appearance of water. Real water is somewhere else. The manifested cosmic creation appears as reality, but reality, of which this is but a shadow, is in the spiritual world. Absolute truth is in the spiritual sky, not the material sky. In the material sky, everything is relative truth.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So you say very clearly, Prabhupada talks about how the external manifested energy here is temporary and it is illusory. It is not illusion. Two different words, illusory and illusion. When you say it's illusion, then it would be like Mayavad, Mithya. Material world doesn't exist. But when you say illusory, it means it it is not what it appears to be. Because what it appears to be very real, and it appears to be eternal, it appears to be full of joy, it appears to be Satchidananda, full of joy, full of knowledge, full of bliss, full of, I mean, eternal also. But actually, it is not like that. So that's how you see the example of mirage or like that. It is to tell that the real satisfaction is there in the spiritual world. It is not to say that Well, because in mirage there is no water, so there is no water anywhere in the world. That's not the point. The point is that the water is not there in the mirage, but it is there somewhere else. If you go to Oasis, then there is water. And very sweet water. So that's the spiritual world, like that. If we equate the material world with spiritual world, then we are mistaking. It's like mistaking that reflection of the mango to think that this is the real mango. It is not. So that is called as a relative truth. So you see very clearly, Prabhupada says in the material sky, everything is relative truth in that way. So we say that material world is also truth, but it is relative truth. It is not absolute truth. Why? Because it will stay for some time and it will dwindle and get destroyed. That's relative truth. It's there only existing for some time. And relative also can mean subjectively, right? Something is happiness for someone and it's not happiness for another person. That's also relative, isn't it? So many people like eating sweets. It is happiness for a person who is healthy, but if you get the diabetes, then it is deadly for you. It's like going to act as poison. It's not good for you at all. So it's relative truth in that particular manner. But absolute truth is not like this. It is for everyone's happiness. It is for everyone's welfare. Sarva Kalyana. It will award auspiciousness for everyone. That's the point. So this is why this idea is being spoken here as Satyam. Krishna is that eternal truth. Satyam. Prabhupada. So that's why when Prabhupada says, only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of three modes of material nature appear factual, although they are unreal. So you understand now the particular sense in which he is speaking this thing. So sometimes Sridhar Swami, something additional for you to know. In this verse's explanation, somehow Sridhar Swami seems to be explaining this particular characteristic in a way that it appears like Mayavad. Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti, they are like very clear on what this verse is saying. But Sridhar Swami seems to be explaining it in a way that it appears like he's calling the material world as mithya. Mithya sargo. You see this word? It is from Sridhar Swami. Mithya sarga. So now, traditionally, those who study, they explain this. Why? Because, Sridhar Swami, he is certainly a Vaishnava, and you can see this throughout his commentary. But in some places, he has deliberately put some bait of Mayavad in order to catch the big-time intellectual fishes of Mayavadis. In Sanskrit, it is called as Badish Amish Anyay. Badish Amish. Badish means hook and Amish means bait. So, if you want to if you want to catch fishes, which Vaishnavas don't do, we don't have interest in fishes as a food. But the point is, yeah, the example is being given to explain. So if one wants to catch a fish, then one puts some amish, he puts some bait on the hook, and then that hook, that bait catches the fish, right? So Sridhar Swami, in order to attract the Mayavadis to come and study Srimad Bhagavatam, and then if they take it up, they would be soon transformed into Vaishnavas. So he deliberately put some sort of Mayavadi explanations within his verses. This is explained by Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, also Vishwanath Chakravarti in their commentaries. Baladev Vidyabhushan explains in Tattva Sandarbhas commentary. So why Sridhar Swami, he did it? He deliberately did it because he was a very great, revered scholar of Shastras and revered Acharya. So if Sridhar Swami comments, they are certainly going to come and read. So then they will come and read, and Sridhar Swami has also placed these few points here, there, so that they will feel, oh, this is our philosophy only. He's speaking our philosophy, Mayavad. Very nice. I can read now entire Bhagavatam. And then when they entered into Bhagavatam, then the rest of the commentary or rest of the verses he explained in a way that is devotional. So they were all transformed at the end of the study of Bhagavatam. So actually his strategy worked. He brought forth lot many intellectual Mayavadis, typically because they are jnanis, so they study a lot. So he brought them and they took up the study of Bhagavatam, thinking that it is also a scripture with impersonal conclusion. But when they took it up, then they understood, oh, this is a devotional book. And by the end of their study, they had been completely transformed also. So that's how. So sometimes Sridhar Swami, whenever he puts that kind of explanation, our acharyas like Jiva Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, they clarify, saying that, well, although Sridhar Swami is saying like this, but point is this here. Like that. And Sridhar Swami's strategy is like more deliberate, and very rarely he does that. It's not like he's putting it everywhere. Few places he does that. So like even in here in this first verse, he has done it. It appears to be explaining in that manner. That's why Prabhupada, in translation, Prabhupada has just done plain translation like Sridhar Swami. Although unreal, he says, right? Although the material universes are unreal. But you see that he is explaining it in very clear terms in the purport. That what do we mean by that? So rope and snake and real tree and reflection, these two examples you can remember. Mayavadis, they like this rope and snake example. They say that you are seeing the rope, but you are seeing it as snake. Actually, what exists is rope only. There is just no snake there. That's what they try to explain. But we saw this idea is not correct because material world is also energy of the Supreme Lord. But Vaishnavas give example of real tree and reflection. There is this tree and the reflection of the tree. So reflection exists. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's not that it is just imagination. But if you think reflection is the truth, that's the problem. If you think material world is as good as spiritual world, that's the problem. This is how. So that's the point actually of here, this world, this particular word over here. Satyam exists in all places and at all times. The entity upon whom meditation is advised must have eternal existence. So that's Satya, right? We talked about that definition. Sarvadesha Kalavarti. Like that. So Vyasdev is telling about meditate on that being which exists in all places at all times, and the highest manifestation of that. So that is the Supreme Lord. So this is how this phrase Satyam Param Dhimahi, it is also equivalent to Athato Brahma Jidnyasa, because there also same thing is being told. Athato Brahma Jidnyasa says, now inquire about the absolute truth, because you have understood karma kand and all this material well-being, it does not give pleasure. So now you please inquire about the absolute truth. So same thing is Satyam Param Dhimahi also. All right. So anything you wish to ask on this portion now that we have completed discussion on Satya? Yeah. Sodamani Sundari Mataji. Yes.
Prabhuji, I had one question that absolute truth is Krishna. So in my mind, this thing came that even our acharyas and Guru Maharaj, they also exist at all times in all places. So how do Krishna is the absolute? He is only the absolute.
Param, no? Param Satyam. acharyas and all can exist, all places, all times. That's what I said. As a jiva, everybody can exist at all places, no, not at all times. So first and foremost is the acharyas and all that, they don't exist in all places. That is not right. Lord exists in all the places. Acharya, by Krishna's mercy, can know what is going on in the heart of his disciple, all his disciples. But will we say that he is Sarvadeshavarti? He exists in all places? No, we don't say that. That would not be correct understanding. Only Lord exists in all the places, and of course, Lord's incarnation exists in all places. Brahman exists in all places also. But still, the qualifier further is param. So that will sort of brush aside even the meditation on Brahman also, because it's not param satyam. It is satyam, but it is not param satyam. So that's how Mataji, Vyasdev is asking to meditate on param satyam. So that's why it is the highest manifestation. Got it?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Can I ask another one?
Yeah, quick
Prabhuji,
one.
like, yeah, you say that the six changes that happens in our body, but it does not happen in Krishna's body. He is Sachidananda. Then in Vrindavan, we see Krishna grew up to 16 years. How is that?
Yeah, yeah. Good. Yes, yes. See, Krishna's growing in Vrindavan when he is manifesting those pastimes. That is actually just for the sake of pastimes. It is a manifestation that he is doing. He is showing that pastime which is of Shaishava Leela as an infant, and then Balya Leela as a child. So it's a manifestation of pastime. Actually speaking, even in those pastimes, you see Krishna doesn't grow beyond a certain age, right? Once he attains Kaishora Vaya, once he attains that 16 years old appearance, then he does not grow after that. Although he spends the time in the material world, he spent 125 years in material world, but then his appearance did not grow beyond those 16 years old appearance. So even in that sense, you can see some extraordinary nature of Krishna's pastimes. But we do understand he has that form which is eternally 16 years old. So that's why in material world he manifests certain pastimes, and in that he may show as if he is growing and all that. But Krishna never grows old. Krishna's body does not dwindle, or it does not undergo any degeneration or anything like that. That way. So yes, it is, you can understand it is Leela. In the material world, things undergo these six vikaras because of karma, because of either it is karma if it is conscious jivas, if it is not conscious jivas, then it is because of material nature of the material things. If it is a mountain, so mountain, it undergoes these vikaras, these transformations because it is material energy. So it is obviously going to show its characteristic. And when it's material bodies of jivas, that's because of their karma that they undergo all these things. But for Krishna, there is no karma. He only acts out of his own sweet will. And that is why we see that all his pastimes and all that, they don't come under material karma. Okay. Param Pavani Shama Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my
Humble obeisance.
Prabhuji, what I understood that Mayavadi philosophy is they think this material world is not existent. And Vaishnava thinks that Vaishnava philosophy is the material world is existent, but it is temporary. It is the reflection of the spiritual world. The example you gave that mango tree, its reflection.
Yeah, that's right.
Prabhuji, now what I was thinking for Mayavadi philosophy is the example that you gave, the analogy is that rope and the snake. But the, Prabhuji, this rope exists, but the seer thinks it as a snake.
Yeah,
And whereas in the reflection philosophy, reflection analogy, the reflection itself non-existent, right, Prabhuji? So
why do you say reflection is non-existent?
because under the water there is no tree. Like I
So,
cannot
but
catch the mango.
that's true. But will you say reflection is non-existent, or reflection being thought as tree is a false idea? Does
Oh,
the reflection exist or not?
reflection exists
It exists.
visually on the water.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is not substance. It is only a visual appearance.
Yes.
That's the point. But for Mayavadi, he would say it doesn't exist only. There is not even a reflection there. There is nothing there.
Oh,
You are just imagining something.
mm,
But reflection, when we see, we are not imagining, it is there. But if you misunderstand reflection to be actual truth, that is the problem.
oh,
That's so same way in material world. We have material relationships. People in the material world, they exist. Material energy exists. Everything exists. But if we think that, oh, this is the most wonderful thing. This is spiritual. This is what is going to give me happiness. I will be happy with material relationships, material things. Then it will be a problem.
got you,
Got it?
Prabhuji. Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. Nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Narhari Dev Prabhu.
Prabhu, you described about two Swarup Lakshanas, Satyam and Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam.
I'm just about to describe that
Right.
Dhamma. Yes.
Right, Prabhu. So my question, maybe if you want to take up this question later also, it's fine. I just wanted to ask, or you could explain it as you explain the other concept, is like if a Sri Vaishnava devotee reads this, right? Like, or they can say, Baba, this also applies to Lord Narayan, right? How can you say this is specifically Swarup Lakshana of Krishna? So how
Yeah.
do we because it's also true, right? Like
It
even
is
Lord
true.
Narayan is Satyam, and he's also Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam, right? Like even
Yes.
so, how do we know that this is specifically referring to our
Yeah,
Krishna?
yeah. Yes, Prabhu. That's all. So actually, your question brings up to the more fundamental question about when the commentaries are given, how do we know that this commentary or this interpretation is the most valid interpretation of the verse? Now, Satyam Param Dhimahi, can it refer to Sri Narayana? 100%. It can refer to Sri Narayana. Now, within Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, we understand that the intimacy of Krishna with his devotees and the sweetness of Krishna that is there, it is more than even the sweetness of Narayana, because Narayana's dealings with his devotees and all, they are marked also by a sense of awe and reverence, Aishwarya Bhakti. When it comes to Krishna, it is Madhurya Bhakti. So, in analysis of Srila Rupa Goswami, we know that those four specific characteristics out of 64, the last four, they apply only to Krishna. They don't apply even to Narayana. And those are characteristics like Rupa Madhuri, Venu Madhuri. Krishna's form is exceedingly sweet. Krishna's playing the flute, Krishna's Bhakta Madhuri. Krishna's devotees are also very, very special, intimately connected to him. Like nobody can jump on the back of Narayana, right? And you don't do that in Vaikuntha. Jump on his back and you're being carried around. Or no. So in terms of rasas, no, there is a certain amount of rasas that one can enjoy with Sri Narayana. You can enjoy Shantaras, of course, and Dasyaras. And then when it comes to Sakhyaras, you can enjoy Sakhyaras which is with reverence, like that. In spiritual world, if you see, these rasas are very, very prominent with Narayana. Even if there is Lakshmiji and all that, Madhuri aspects are there, but they are always with reverence. There is this constant awareness that this is Narayana. I cannot be casual with him. But when it comes to Krishna, it is completely intimate dealings. And that's how, there was big discussion between Lord Chaitanya and this Venkat Bhatt also, Tirumala Bhatta Venkat Bhatt also, when he went to South India. And then he said, if Narayana is someone who is obviously Sarva Guna Sampanna, then why does Lakshmi want to enter into Raslila? Why is she entering into Raslila, trying to enter? Is she not happy with the pastimes that she has with Narayana? And then Venkat Bhatta says that, well, Narayana and Krishna are one and the same, so what is the problem? But then Lord Chaitanya asked, then why was she not allowed then? If you say he is the same person, but then it was not allowed. She was not allowed the participation in Raslila. That is why, because a certain mood is needed for the Raslila. Mother Lakshmi has that Mahishi bhav, she has that queen-like stature, and she obviously has that particular mood. It remains with her always. While the pastimes of Vrindavan are different, they are of that nature of very intimate kind of love where you don't remember that Krishna is Supreme Lord. So, this whole aspect of revelation, Prabhu, that's the heart of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. And that's how we consider and understand that Krishna's feature, Krishna's appearance is even more intimate and exalted than Sri Narayana's appearance. So we don't have to sort of, on this point, become so much divided that we start fighting amongst ourselves. But still, in every sampradaya, a certain revelation which is done by the acharyas and all that, it is revered and it is seen as the highest revelation in terms of Siddhanta and all that. So, in that way, we consider that the intimacy and the sweetness of Krishna's pastimes is even higher than Lord Narayana's pastimes. So from that angle, the aspect of Param would qualify for Krishna when we are talking about Gaudiya Vaishnava explanation of this verse. We don't have to say that it does not apply to Narayana. No, we won't say that. It would apply to Vaikuntha expansions like Narayana and all that. But even still within that, we can have some hierarchy. We can have some tarotamya. This is superlative, this is more comparative, like that. All right, Prabhu?
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.
Okay, Praladhan, Prabhu, quick. Yes.
Dhanur Pranam Prabhuji. I just had little explanation I needed. I understand Mayavadis, they call all the avtaras under Maya and under absolute Sattva Gun.
Yeah.
Is that the correct concept under Mayavad?
No, Prabhu, it's certainly not a valid idea because, Mayavadis think that Brahman is the only Satya. And what is that Brahman? That Brahman is that is absolute truth, devoid of all form, name, qualities, attributes, color, everything. You cut down everything from the absolute truth. There is no form, there is no smell, there is no taste, there is no color, there is no attribute. What remains is Brahman. So when you will study this Brahmeti Paramatmeti verse, that time you can go into depth of this verse. But it's a very weird idea. If you cut down everything from all the features of the absolute, then what exists exactly? That's the question that Acharyas ask. Does even something exist? No form, no attribute, nothing, nothing, nothing. Then what exists? It's like, Prabhupada would tell the story of that parrot, you know that, right? One time, a master, he gave a parrot to the servant to take care of him. He was kept in a cage. And then the servant was very lazy, so he forgot to feed the parrot. So parrot became dead. Parrot died. So then when the master came, he asked the servant, hey, what happened to parrot? Yeah, the parrot is not moving. Oh, he's not moving. Is he sick? Is he speaking? No, he's not speaking. Oh, he's not speaking also. Is he doing at least some sort of movement? No movement also, nothing. Is he eating? No, nothing eating also. So he should say that the parrot is dead, right? Why is he saying all these things that he is not moving, this, that? And so Prabhupada would say, absolute truth does not have any name, does not have any form. Then does it even exist? Because you are stripping off absolute truth from all the attributes, then what remains? So actually, Shankaracharya's Mayavad is not much different than Buddhism. Buddhism is saying everything is zero. It says that Shunya, nothing exists. And that is Shunyavad. And Mayavad it is saying Brahman exists, but that Brahman does not have any form, any attribute, and all, nothing, nothing, nothing. So what it is Shunya only. So
Do not
that's
they
why
say that,
Maya,
that
yeah,
it's
it's
some
instead of just saying
energy?
directly, they would just have this all gobbledygook, where they want to speak about these things. So actually, that's why Mayavad is known as Prachannam Bauddham. It is known as Crypto Buddhism. It is hidden Buddhism. Mayavadam Asat Shastram Prachannam Bauddham Uchate Mayeva Vihitam Devi Kalo Brahmana Rupina. Shankaracharya speaks to Parvati in Padma Puran that this Mayavad is Asat Shastra. It is a bogus philosophy. And Prachannam Bauddham, it is actually hidden Buddhism only. It's just that I'm putting it in a way that it is interestingly very, very appears to be intellectual. Okay.
All right, thank you, Prabhuji.
So, thank you. Okay, Gaurang Gopal Prabhu. Yes, last question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I just forgot to note down what you mentioned about the fish and bait example. So that Sanskrit word
Yeah.
I missed out. Can you just mention?
Yeah, it is Prabhu, just a minute. It is Badish, Badish, Badisha. Badish in Sanskrit means hook. And then
Okay.
Amish, yeah. I'll probably put in chat. Okay, I'm just putting in chat.
Okay, Prabhu.
Badish, Amish, Nyay. So you see, I have put it in chat.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, let's go ahead. All right. So that is Satyam. Lord is Sachidananda. Actually, those of you who are interested in more understanding of this verse, you can read from Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Lord Chaitanya explains this verse to Sanatan Goswami in Madhya Leela, in Sanatan Shiksha. And very beautiful explanation of Swarup Tatast Lakshan he gives, where he tells Akriti Prakriti sei Swarup Lakshan, Karya Dwara Jnan sei Tatastha Lakshan. So, what is Swarup Lakshan is Lord's own personal form. That is Swarup Lakshan. Krishna, his form is transcendental, Sachidananda. He plays the flute. So, these attributes are never taken away from the Lord. They will eternally be existing. So, that is why Akriti, this form of the Lord, and Prakriti, which means the constitution of Lord's body, which is what? Which is Sachidananda or Chit Shakti. That is the Swarupa Lakshana. And what Lord does in the material world, that is Tatastha Lakshana. Karya Dwara Jnana. What are his functions in the material world? That is Tatastha Lakshana. But his own form and his beautiful features and his beautiful composition of the body, right? That's Swarup Lakshana. So that's another definition of Swarup Lakshana. You see. Another, Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam. Lord's Swarup Shakti manifesting his abode, name, and associates is also transcendental and free from Maya. So Lord's Swarupa Shakti manifesting, not only Lord is Satya, but his Swarup Shakti is also Satya. His abode is Satya. It is all transcendental. In fact, it does not have anything material. So Krishna is Sachidananda. His energies are Sachidananda, especially the spiritual energies. His spiritual world, his associates, his holy name, everything is Sachidananda. It is free from Maya. So that's the Swarup Lakshan aspect. It's not that Lord for some time he takes up some form of Maya. No, he never takes the form of Maya. He is always Sachidananda. Even when he takes up avatars like fish avatar, Meena avatar, or he takes avatars like Nrisimha, where he is half man, half lion, or takes some animal species like Varaha, the wild boar, he is always transcendental. He is never material. So in material world, people don't understand these things, and that's why they look at these incarnations and they feel, what is this? This is being anthropomorphic, or this is being zoomorphic. You have heard those words? Anthropomorphism or zoomorphism, meaning you are projecting animal-like behavior on the Lord. When Lord is depicted as Varaha, they say that you are projecting animal-like characteristics on the Lord. That is being zoomorphic. And when you depict Lord as Krishna or Rama, they say you are being anthropomorphic. You are depicting human attributes on the Lord. This is your own imagination that you are trying to put on the Lord. But it is not like that. These are actual original forms of the Lord. And that knowledge is coming from the scripture. In fact, we are not projecting human attributes on the Lord. Rather, man was made in the image of God. Bible says that, right? We are very bad copies of, Supreme Lord, you could say. We are never Supreme Lord. Lord is Lord, and we are living entities. But, we try to be imitators of the Lord in this world. So man is made in the image of the God. It's not that God is being made in the image of man. That's the philosophy of anthropomorphism or zoomorphism. No. Lord's form comes first. And resembling to that form, because of our desire to enjoy, Krishna gives us a material body which is somewhat similar to that, somewhat similar, only in the shape. The constitution is completely material in the material body. Lord's constitution is completely transcendental. It is Chit Shakti. That Dhamna here, that Dhamna word means that Lord's constitution is actually Chit Shakti. It is not matter, earth, water, fire, air, ether like us, like our body. So that's the point actually. That's the difference between Lord and us. So that's why when we talk about incarnations, we are not projecting human ideas on the Lord. We are hearing authentic descriptions of the Lord from the scripture. And these descriptions, they are his eternal forms in the Vaikuntha worlds. Matsyavatar or Kashyapa, these are eternal forms of the Lord. It's not that they are temporary forms. or just because we want to see tortoise, so we projected that form of a tortoise on the Supreme Lord. Nothing like that. Lord may have some special purpose in the past time, but point is these are his eternal forms and these are transcendental forms. They don't have anything to do with the material world in terms of constitution. So that's it. So those were the Swarup Lakshanas. Now rest of it is Tatastha Lakshanas, extrinsic characteristics. So one of them is the primary, very important is Janma Adiyasya Yataha, from whom comes the creation, maintenance and destruction. So this aspect is said to be Tatastha Lakshana because it is extrinsic to the Lord's nature. See, by studying cosmos, you cannot understand anything about Supreme Lord's own bodily features or his own Swarupa. That is what it means by extrinsic. When you study this world, when you take up this bottle or you take this mobile or anything, this is matter. So by studying matter, what can you know about Supreme Lord's transcendental body? You cannot. You can at best know that Supreme Lord's transcendental body will be of the opposite nature of the matter. So this is what is meant by Tatastha Lakshan. The cosmos is not the part of Lord's intrinsic nature. It is the manifestation of his external potency. And that's why this world, it has that Asat Achit Nirananda nature, which means it is temporary, it is full of ignorance, and it is full of misery. Lord's nature is exactly opposite. Krishna is Satchit Ananda. Material world is Asat Achit Nirananda. Lord is eternal, Lord is full of joy, full of knowledge, but the material world is not having those characteristics. So although Lord created this world, but he is different from his creation. That is what is meant by Tatastha Lakshan. It is not an intrinsic characteristic of the Lord. And the characteristic will also apply for a certain time only. As long as the creation exists, you can talk about Lord being creator. But when there is no creation, when everything is within Mahavishnu's body, what does this Lakshan mean there? Janmadhyasya yataha, from whom comes the creation, maintenance, destruction, everything. But well, the point is there is nothing, no material creation only that time. So the whole Lakshana becomes sort of absent. When Mahavishnu, there are 4 kinds of pralayas. The final devastation, everything is within the body of Mahavishnu. That time there is no material world, nothing is there. Everything within him, material nature within him, all the living entities within him, all the karma is within him, meaning karma of the living entities is within him. And he exists, only he is there, that's it, nothing else. So at that point of time, what Tatastha Lakshana you are going to talk about? Because there is just no material world there, nothing is there. Then he manifests that material energy and glances on her, Saikshata, and then from there Mahatattva comes, and from that Mahatattva substance all the universes come out. That's how it is. So, as you go ahead, you will learn all the details of creation and all that. But the point is, studying the cosmos or the material nature does not give the details about Lord's personal qualities. It is extrinsic characteristic. So, I am trying to make you understand 2 sense of the term Tatastha Lakshana. One sense is that the Lakshana, the characteristic will not exist all the time. And second is, it is extrinsic, it is external. It is not internal characteristic of the Lord. Like an artist, his painting and his personal attributes. If you take an artist, so artist may paint something and he may have some beautiful painting made. But that painting is his energy. It does not tell you about necessarily about the artist's personality. He is acting, it is his function. But artist himself may be like he may paint a person who is very gloomy, is very sad person, but then the artist himself may be ecstatic person. You don't have to see that, oh, this is his persona also. No. So you may have a painting of an artist, but his personal attributes vary. They are different, right? Uh, any walk of life, you can apply that. Our functions may be different. Like people may be working in an office, but their own home and their personal characteristics are very different. Uh, so similarly, Krishna, in the material world, for the sake of the living entities, he offers everything. He does creation and everything, all that. But then that's not his, you could say, personal nature. His personal world is spiritual world. His constitution is Satchidananda. Material world does not have those attributes actually. That is the Lakshana. So when he creates this material world, Anvayaditaratah cha, he is conscious of this manifestation directly and indirectly, like that. He is directly conscious, he is indirectly conscious. He is existing in his creation directly and indirectly. What does that mean? Directly, he is there because this is all his energy only. Material energy is Krishna's only. So, because it is Krishna's energy, so he is existing everywhere in the form of energy. But at the same time, indirectly also. Why? Because he is having all this system of demigods and Brahma and Devi, and they are all giving the report to him. Prabhupada gives the example of chief engineer. Very simple example he gives. All right, so let's see this. Satyam Prabhu, do you want to read this, Prabhu? This what you see on the screen, the chief engineer, starting from there, this para, the chief engineer.
Yeah, Prabhu. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to read. Krishna.
Yeah.
The chief engineer of a complicated construction does not personally take part in the construction, but he knows every nook and corner because everything is done under his direction. He knows everything about the construction, both directly and indirectly. Similarly, the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme engineer of this cosmic creation, knows every nook and corner, although affairs are apparently being carried out by demigods. Beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant ant, no one is independent in the matter of material creation. The hand of the Lord is seen everywhere.
Continue, bro. Continue.
All material elements as well as all spiritual sparks emanate from Him only, and whatever is created in this material world is but the interaction of two energies, the material and the spiritual, which emanates from the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. A chemist can manufacture water in the chemical laboratory by mixing hydrogen and oxygen, but in reality, the living entity works in the laboratory under the direction of the Supreme Lord, and the materials with which he works are also supplied by the Lord. The Lord knows everything directly and indirectly, and he is cognizant of all minute details, and he is fully independent.
Yes,
He
Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So you say Prabhupada is giving this example of chief engineer, right? So if there is a construction site, there is a civil engineer. So he knows about every nook and corner of that particular construction. How, first and foremost, the design is given by the chief engineer. He is the one who has given the blueprint. So first and foremost, he knows the design itself is given by him. whatever, architect or chief engineer. So because the design, the blueprint is coming from him, so first and foremost, he knows about everything, how it is going to. Second thing is, he has also supplied the ingredients and all that. And third is, he also has all this set of supervisors and all that, by whom he comes to know about every single detail of the construction. Now, when it applies to the Supreme Lord, then practically he is everywhere present, because his material energy is manifestation from him only. So directly he is present everywhere actually. Even in this material world, Paramatma, in the form of Paramatma, he is present everywhere. So he is directly conscious, because he is just everywhere. Right now we are sitting everywhere, Paramatma. I mean, in all this material energy, Paramatma is there. We may not be able to see him because we don't have that purity of the eyes. But the point is, he is directly everywhere. All the energies are his transformation only. Material world is transformation of his energies. And then all the demigods and everyone, they are also under him, and they are constantly updating him, supplying information. So you see, all these demigods, Brahma, Maya Devi, everyone is under him. The whole design is given by him, and time to time he comes to also help in that manner of creation, maintenance, destruction, right? Even in creation, Lord only does the primary creation. Secondary creation is handled by Brahma. So it's not that Lord does not create, he creates also. Creation, then he is certainly part of maintenance. And then finally, in his form of Kala, he also destroys everything. So the point is that this is how Lord is conscious directly and indirectly. Anvaya and Itarataha. Anvaya means directly, Itarataha means indirectly. Like that. Those words Anvaya and Vyatireka, they have many, many meanings, but I will leave it there. This direct meaning, as Prabhupada understands and gives us. We will go ahead with that meaning. Otherwise, those words are like full of very different meanings. And Vishwanath Chakravarti gives 5 different meanings of those, this text and all that. But it's okay. I mean, that's part of study of commentaries and all that. It's a different study altogether. But yes, directly and indirectly, Lord is conscious of all the manifestations. So that is called material cause, efficient cause, and ultimate cause. You have heard this term. Material cause means Lord gives the ingredients of the material world. It's like you make a pot, earthen pot. So the clay mound or the earth mound, that lump of clay, that would be known as material cause. Because from there you are taking the clay and making a clay pot. So similarly, all the ingredients of material world, earth, water, fire, air, ether, Mahatattva, intelligence, everything, that is given by whom? That's given by Supreme Lord. That's his energy. So he is a material cause. Efficient cause means one who is himself helping as an instrument to work out the creation. Like if you take that example of potter, then the wheel of the potter, you have seen traditionally how the pots are made, clay pots. So there is this wheel or the stick with which the potter, he rotates the wheel. So the wheel or the stick, these are all the instruments by which he is making the pot. So similarly, Lord also has his instruments by which he works out the creation. Different personalities, different other individuals involved. So he is also efficient cause, because these are all within his hand, all of these personalities. And finally, ultimate cause, he is the one who owns everything. He is the one who owns those pots, and just like an owner, he owns the pots, all the pots made by potter. So similarly, Many demigods and Brahma and all of them may help in creation, but then Lord is the one who owns the material world. So he's the ultimate cause. So that's the meaning of these terms: material cause, efficient cause, and ultimate cause. Like that. All right. So we have seen Janmadasya yataha anvayaditaratascha. Now, in philosophy, the Sankhya philosophy or other philosophies, they say that Pradhana or material energy is the cause of the universe, not the Supreme Lord. Material energy is cause of the universe. That's the Sankhya idea. Pradhana, it's called Pradhan also. Or they say Kala because of the glance. Kala, because of the time only whole material creation comes into being. So why are we meditating on Supreme Lord? Why not meditate on Pradhana or Kala? Probably Vyasdev is telling us to meditate on Pradhana or Kala, material energy or time. But then other words of the verse, they brush aside that idea. And that's what is the rest of the explanation. If we say that let us meditate on material energy because it is the cause of the material world, material energy is that energy from whom everything emanates. But then the verse says abhidnya, that absolute truth is also abhidnya, he is omniscient. Pradhan, meaning material energy, is it omniscient? No. Material energy is in fact not even conscious. Material energy is unconscious. So that's why that characteristic cannot apply to material energy. Similarly, Kala, time also is unconscious. So these beings, or not beings, but these factors, like material energy or time, because they are not conscious, so that's why they are not abhidnya. They are not omniscient. They are not supremely conscious. So that's why the meditation cannot be on them. Should we meditate on some jiva who is omniscient then? Sometimes some living entities may be called as omniscient, abhidnya, because Lord may empower that particular jiva. So can we meditate on some living entity who is said to be omniscient? Sometimes some living entities are said to be omniscient because by Lord's mercy they can understand everything. Even personalities like Narad Muni or Shukadeva, they are said to be omniscient. So abhidnya, which means omniscient or supremely conscious. So should we meditate on such personalities like Narada or Shukadeva or like that? Is it that is what is being spoken by this verse? No, that's not the point. Why? Because yes, by Lord's mercy, sometimes some jivas may be called abhidnya, but then they are not swarat. The next verse says supremely independent. So this characteristic cannot apply to any jiva. It cannot apply to any living entity. It is only possible for Supreme Lord to be supremely independent. Swarat also means one who has knowledge on one's own. He does not depend on anyone for the knowledge. So who can be that person, Swarat? It is only Supreme Lord, right? So you see these characteristics, they are zooming in, they are zeroing on Supreme Lord. Only Supreme Lord has these characteristics. Someone may say Swarat. One of the meanings of Swarat is that one who has knowledge on one's own. So Brahma also had knowledge on one's own, right? Brahma never went to Gurukula. So why not meditate on Brahma then? Of course, if you take Swarupla Satyam Param Dhimahi, Param Satyam. So Brahma or some living entity, Narada or like that, they don't qualify to be called as Param Satyam, no? Although, of course, Narada, Brahma, these are all exalted devotees, but you can't call them as Param Satya, no? That is Krishna only or Narayana only. I mean, Lord's incarnations, They can be called, Bhagavan feature can be called like that. So, should we meditate on Brahma? Because Brahma also got his knowledge on his own. He never went to Gurukula. No. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. Even Brahma's knowledge came from Lord's mercy. Unto the heart of Brahma, Lord revealed the entire Vedic knowledge unto the heart. So that's why he is not Swarat. He is not Swarat. But Brahma never went to any Gurukula. These are all directly statements from the commentaries. Yes, that's right. He received the knowledge in the heart of himself. Hrida. Lord revealed that knowledge unto Brahma in the beginning of creation. So Brahma's knowledge is also not on his own. It is coming by Lord's mercy. That's why he is not Swarat. This way. So Abhednya and Swarat, you cannot apply those terms to anyone actually. They will be for the Supreme Lord. In this way. Like that. Even if by Lord's mercy we may accept somebody can be Abhidnya, meaning all-knowing, omniscient, but then still Swarat is not possible. Swarat is only Supreme Lord and nobody else. This way. Brahma got the Vedic knowledge just as one becomes conscious of everything when one gets up from sleep. Okay, don't worry about it. This knowledge to the Brahma that was revealed by Lord only. And in fact, this Vedic knowledge is so difficult to understand that even the great intelligent beings also can be bewildered. But Lord revealed that knowledge to Brahma. So even Brahma has to receive the knowledge from the Lord. Vedas can bewilder even the great intelligent people. Or this line can also mean Krishna can bewilder the greatly intelligent people. Just as Prabhupada translates it. It means that even the great personalities like great sages or demigods like Indra, we know that how he was also bewildered by Krishna. He thought Krishna to be an ordinary child. Or even Kumaras are bewildered by Krishna. Even Narada is bewildered by Krishna. So Krishna can bewilder anyone. That's his Tatastha Lakshana also there, in the sense that in the manner, in the material world, he can bewilder anyone actually. Spiritual world's residents, they always remain conscious of Krishna. It's all happening out of love over there. Thus, the Supreme Lord is the only object of meditation described by this verse. So, by Swarup and Tatastha Lakshanas, Supreme Lord is the only object of meditation here, in that manner. Finally, Prabhupada also explains how this is the original Bhagavad Puran and not the other Puran, or it's not that Bhagavad Puran is written down by some other Vopadeva or somebody like that. In next session, I will just quickly go through rest of the purport of Prabhupada. Now that you have understood the verse, so it's not going to be difficult. We might just take 15 minutes to go through Prabhupada's purport because you know all the concepts of this verse now. So some of the concepts we did see from Prabhupada also, but we will see some other concepts which he speaks also. And then we move to the next verse. So towards the end of the Prabhupada's purport, he speaks that some people say that Bhagavatam was written by one Vopadeva. But actually that's not true. This is the Purana which is written by Vyasadeva. You can see. Here he says, some Mayavadi scholars argue that Srimad Bhagavatam was not compiled by Sri Vyasadeva. And some of them suggest this is a book. This book is a modern creation by someone named Vopadeva. In order to refute such meaningless arguments, Sri Sridhar Swami points out that there is reference to the Bhagavatam in many of the oldest Puranas. So Bhagavatam is compiled by Vyasadeva only, not by Vopadeva. Vopadeva was a person, we discussed about him, you remember? He was a person from 14th century, 13th century, and he popularized Bhagavatam. but he never wrote down Bhagavatam. It is original Vedic or rather Puranic scripture. Srimad Bhagavatam is compiled by Vyasadeva. So that's the point. Prabhupada is also pointing out that Sridhar Swami. So Sridhar Swami gives historical authenticity of this Bhagavad Puran, and he says that this is different from Devi Bhagavatam. So it's okay. This idea is more prevalent in India, where Srimad Bhagavatam is, they misunderstand it to be Devi Bhagavatam. Devi Bhagavatam is one of the Upa Puranas, minor Puranas, and it glorifies Devi Parvati, Lord Shiva's beloved wife. So that's a different scripture. Srimad Bhagavatam does not glorify Parvati. It is glorifying Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. So Sridhar Swami goes in somewhat length trying to explain that this is the real Bhagavatam, not that Devi Bhagavatam is the real Srimad Bhagavatam. No. Both are authentic scriptures. But when we say Srimad Bhagavatam, when we talk about the topmost Purana, this is that Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, which begins with Chanmadyasya Yatonvayat. It also has Gayatri mantra in it, Dhimahi. So what is the characteristics of Bhagavatam? You see, these three characteristics at least you can remember. It begins with Gayatri. Dhimahi is there. Devi Bhagavatam does not begin with Gayatri. The whole debate is about what is the real Bhagavatam. That's why this whole thing is coming here. For us in Kali Yuga, we hardly know Devi Bhagavatam also. So that's why that debate may appear to be irrelevant. But why Prabhupada is bringing it up? Because in India, especially in the northern regions, they think that Devi Bhagavatam is the real Srimad Bhagavatam and not the regular Srimad Bhagavatam. So then that's a problem, right? Because Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies Krishna actually. So we respect all the demigods, we respect Devi also. But the point is, Srimad Bhagavatam is not talking about her glory. Bhagavatam is talking about Krishna's glory. So three characteristics primarily are spoken. Bhagavatam begins with Gayatri. It is spoken by Shukadeva. Devi Bhagavatam is not spoken by Shukadeva. Devi Bhagavatam does not begin with Gayatri. And then this Vritrasura's killing episode is not there in Devi Bhagavatam. That episode is known as Hayagriva Brahma Vidya. So those are features of our Bhagavatam only. And that's how this is the real Srimad Bhagavatam. Sridhar Swami also says that. So in the end, I have put some points on what is the difference between Devi Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavatam. So these are some additional points, these differences. So, all right, that completes the discussion on the first verse. Hare Krishna. So, I still have to go through the aspects, some aspects of the purport. So, what I'll do in the next, I'll quickly cover those aspects in 15-20 minutes, and then we move to the next verses explanation. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, any of you need to leave, please go ahead. The time is over. You can proceed for your service. Others who have questions may stay back. You can ask questions. Hare Krishna. Radha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, Tulasi Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. In the Mayavad school, what do they think Param is? Is it Brahman is Param for them?
Yes, that's right. They think that Param Satyam refers to Brahman.
And Paramatma, what they think about that? Like, does Paramatma exist for them in everyone's heart and all?
See, they will talk about Paramatma, but they will say that this is a talk at a level of illusion. So Paramatma exists, but at the level of illusion, he exists. Like you look at a rope and you see it as snake. So if I ask you, does the snake exist? Yeah, well, it exists, but it exists on the platform of illusion. out of illusion it exists, but if you see the reality, it doesn't exist. So similarly, they talk about Paramatma, that Paramatma, you can talk about all these things only on the platform of illusion. Vyavaharik is what they call it. But on the Paramarthik level, on the highest level, Paramatma also doesn't exist.
Okay,
So like
so
this.
do we have an argument, like have we established that Bhagwan is the Param in front of them ever? Like has there any debate been where our Acharya?
Yeah, so many times. Yes, yes. It goes on. It goes on for the ages. So, there is this Bhagavan feature, which is absolute truth with energies, and Brahman is devoid of all energies. Now, you tell me, absolute truth with energies will be higher or without energies will be higher feature?
With energy.
Absolutely. So, when you have a feature which is devoid of energy, how can you say it is Param?
Yes.
Naturally, the feature with energies has to be Param. So, Bhagavan is the feature with all the energies. Paramatma is the feature with only material energies. So, even Paramatma is higher than Brahman. What to speak of Shri Bhagavan? So, that's why they may have their own ideas and they take some statements of scriptures and they want to interpret it in a certain way. But the Vaishnava Acharyas have actually sort of defeated that philosophy by asking questions, and they cannot answer these questions. They answer in a roundabout way, in this way. But then, yeah, you say Param Satyam, but then your feature does not have any energies. What does that mean? How can it be Param? No, it's a lower feature of reality. Brahman. Higher than that is Paramatma, and highest is Bhagavan. Okay.
Prabhuji, when the material universes are created and destroyed, some come out and some get destroyed in the Lord's Mahavishnu's body. So at some point, all the material universes in the fourth type of pralay get destroyed, like you said, because I thought material world was always eternal and universes destroyed and manifested at different times. And I didn't know that all the material universes also at some point cease to exist, but that happens.
Yeah, that happens. Yes, that is called as Prakritik Pralaya. All the material universes, they go inside Mahavishnu. With his breathing, they come out, and with his breathing in, they go in. So once they go in, then everything goes inside him. So outside, nothing is there. No universe, nothing. Even the material energy goes inside him. All elements, everything, all the living entities go inside him, except the ones who qualify to go back to spiritual world. Obviously, they go to spiritual world. But those who don't qualify to go to the spiritual world, they go inside Mahavishnu. And there is that point in time where you could say that, well, now, nothing exists outside. So there is no material world that time. Nothing is there. Ahamevasamevagre. That's the first shloka of Chatushloki, where Lord says, only I existed in the beginning. Nothing was there. So that is a Prakritik Pralaya. That's the fourth, or rather third Pralaya. Fourth one is Atyantik, which means you transcend the material world and go to the spiritual world. That's called Atyantik Pralaya, which means moksha only actually. Third one is Prakritik Pralaya, which means at that point of time, everything is within Mahavishnu. Nothing is outside. And at that point of time, practically, there is no material world, nothing. The material energy, that remains, but that is also inside Paramatma. It is merged within Paramatma. So you could say that material energy is existing all the time, but material manifestation is not there. Material world is not there. No. So that's the feature of Prakritik Pralaya. The final devastation. Right? Okay.
Prabhuji, I heard in one class that if because everything comes out from Mahavishnu's or from the Supreme Lord's body, everything is spiritual, but only our vision makes it material. So how do we reconcile that concept that everything is spiritual?
Well, everything is spiritual. It is in the sense of utility, Mataji. Everything is spiritual because if you use it in Krishna's service, then it becomes spiritual. It's not that everything is spiritual in its constitutional manner. Otherwise, then there will be no two energies also, right? Why Krishna says there are two kinds of energy in Bhagavad Gita if everything is spiritual. Krishna says, Bhumirapo analavayu khammano buddhireva cha ahankaritiyam me bhinna prakritirashtata. And then he says, apareyam itaspanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabhav. But there is also another energy. And this was apara, this was inferior energy that I spoke to you, material energy. But there is some spiritual energy also, separate. Aparayam. So the point is, Krishna is himself making distinction between energies very clearly, right there in the Bhagavad Gita. Or same way in other places also. Chit, Achit, Jiva. Three categories of energies are always there. There is material energy, spiritual energy, and Jiva Shakti. Antaranga, Bahiranga, Jiva. Internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy. Why these categories if there is only one energy? No, you have to understand. When we say everything is spiritual, it means the utility can be spiritual. If you use the matter in Krishna's service, then it becomes spiritual. But it's not that this becomes Satchidananda. The utility is spiritual because you are using in Krishna's service. So now you can call it as spiritual. It is becoming spiritualized instead of becoming transformed into spirit or something. Not like. So in that sense, everything is spiritual. Otherwise, matter is matter. You use it in Krishna's service, you could say it is spiritualized. Like Prabhupada would give example, you have an iron rod, you heat it, it will become red hot. So now, is it fire or is it iron rod? What will you say, Mataji? Is it fire or iron rod?
It's iron, it just got some nature of fire temporarily.
Exactly. Because you put it in fire, it has become now fiery. But if you cool it down, it's again iron.
Yes.
So similarly, material world also, as long as you use it in Krishna's service, it is spiritual. But if the constitutionally, you can't change it. It is matter. It will dwindle. You use it in Krishna's service as much as it is possible. And then once its utility is over, all those 6 transformations occur, then that's it. You have to go ahead with the things. So that's the material body also. Even our body, when we use in Krishna's service, from the utility side, it is considered to be spiritual. It's not that this becomes a spiritual body. No, we have to, by practice of bhakti, gain spiritual body. That's a different substance altogether. You can at best spiritualize this body, but it's not that it transforms into spiritual body. So that's the difference between something which is innately spiritual and something which is spiritualized. Got it?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you very much.
Yeah. Sankrikor Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my most respectful obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. My pranams to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, we are talking about Swarat as Tatastha Lakshan. And we are also saying that only Krishna is supremely independent. Nobody else is. Then why it is not Swarup Lakshan and why is it Tatastha Lakshan?
Very nice. Yeah. Why it is Tatastha? Because the definition has been done, Mataji, in terms of material world actually. If you go technically in this verse, it is defined as Janmad yasya yaton vayad itaratah chartheshu abhitnya swarat. That supremely conscious and being supremely independent, it is being defined in the context of the material world. Artheshu. When it comes to the you can see the meaning of that word. It talks about in the creations of matter. So Vyasadeva is speaking about complete independence of Supreme Lord and complete knowledge in the matters of creation. And because the creation itself is temporary, so it becomes into Tatastha Lakshana. If he would have defined it separately, not for the matter of creation, then you can say that it is Swarup Lakshana, no doubt about it. But the definition, the way he has defined it in terms of the creational aspects. And that is his choice. Vyasadeva can define it in the way he wants. You could say that, well, why to put that complete independence and omniscience only in the matter of creation? Why not to put it outside of it? It's just applicable everywhere. Yeah, it is true. It is. Then in that case, we would accept it as Swarup Lakshana, no doubt. But the definitions, how you want to define, it's also how the author wants to do it. And if somebody like Vyasadeva, who is Narayana himself, so he defines that supreme independence more in the material context. It is because he's talking about Janmadyasya Yataha, the creation and all that. So who is supremely independent in the matter of creation? Is it Brahma? No. Is it Devi? No. Krishna is that. Krishna, or the Supreme Lord, basically. He is the one who is supremely independent in that matter. And also he is the one who is supremely conscious in that matter. So because that Artheshu, that qualifies these features for the material world, so it has been not termed as Swarup Lakshana, actually. You understand that, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. So this is pretty contextual, but otherwise, if we take it out, yes, contextual related to this particular verse. But if we actually come to think about it, then Abhigya and Swarat, they both would qualify as Krishna's Swarupa Lakshan, because he's always omniscient of everything, no matter what.
Absolutely. So you are spot on the point. So we are going with Vyasadev's way of defining like that. That's how only two Swarup Lakshanas have been pointed out by Acharyas. One is Satyam and another is the Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta. The rest of it is pertaining to material world. See, even Tene Brahma Hridaya Adika, he reveals the knowledge to Brahma. It's not that he is eternally revealing that knowledge in spiritual world also. No, that happens only when there is creation. If there is no creation, there is no revelation to knowledge to Brahma also. Because that's not needed. There is no creation only. So why do you need? So you see all those features, they are within the context of creation. That's why they are Tatastha Lakshana. Yeah, very nice question. Thank you.
So, Prabhu, in that case, we can understand that if Satyam and Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam has been put into the category of Swarup Lakshan, that means these two characteristics cannot be even put into the material context. Like, they are absolutely on the spiritual realm. So they cannot be even brought down into that category, and that's why they are eternally the Swarup Lakshan. Even is that understanding correct, Prabhu?
Yeah, I mean, when you say that Swarup Lakshan is there, so will it apply to the Lord in the material world? It will apply, no? That's what is called as Swarup Lakshana. It is existent in everywhere. So like when Krishna comes in the material world, say he comes in this 28th Yuga cycle on Vrindavan planet. So will you say that the Satyam and Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam apply to him or not?
It would. It definitely
would. So that's how. So in that sense, that characteristic will be ever present, whether he is in the material world, whether he is in the spiritual world. But the Tatastha Lakshana will not be like that. All the Tatastha Lakshanas, they become irrelevant when we talk about the spiritual world, because there is just no creation over there, no maintenance, no destruction. Everything is eternal there. So that's how it is. So Swarup Lakshanas would exist in the realm of whether a material world or spiritual world, truly there, but not the other way around. That would be the precise understanding.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Narhadev Prabhu?
Prabhu, thank you so much for being so patiently answering all our questions. I'm so grateful to you.
No problem.
Prabhu, I have two questions when I read the purport. In one section of the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions, he writes, quote, in the Padma Puran also there is reference to the Bhagavatam in a conversation between Gautama and Maharaj Ambarish. The king
Yeah.
was advised therein to read regularly Srimad Bhagavatam if he desired liberation from the material bondage. Unquote. So my question is, if the Bhagavatam already includes the history of Maharaj Ambarish in the ninth canto, why would Maharaj Ambarish read something that glorifies his own character, Prabhu?
Uh, what was the last part of the question, Prabhu?
Uh, why would Maharaj
No.
Ambarish read something that glorifies his own character? Because in the Bhagavatam, there is glorification of Maharaj Ambarish, right? Like, then why would Maharaj Ambarish read something? Uh, so it's a bit
Yeah,
confusing.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. See, when we talk about Bhagavatam, the way this Bhagavatam has been received to us, this entire 18,000 verses worth Bhagavatam, that is received only towards the end of the Dwapar Yuga.
Oh,
Now, uh, the pastime of Ambarisha happens much, much before that, actually. So, Bhagavatam as a body of knowledge is always there, but then the current form where these episodes are currently mentioned, that 18,000 verse worth Bhagavatam with specific upakhyanas, akhyanas, the specific episodes, that was made available only towards the end of the Dwapar Yuga. So that's why for Ambarish Maharaj or like that, we can understand that he heard this body of knowledge of Bhagavatam, but we don't have to assume that he heard exactly 18,000 words Bhagavatam only. He heard in general because Bhagavatam is there even in the Satya Yuga. It's not that it is there, but it is not there in this 18,000 verses exactly these episodes. It was more known to certain sages like Vyasadev, Narada, and they know it. See, all the yugas, no Prabhu, certain scriptures become prominent. So, especially in the Satya Yuga and all, the scriptures that are prominent are the original Vedas and Upanishads and all that. And then at a certain point of time, the Puranas start becoming very, very prominent. Although these knowledge bodies are always there, but they are with few people. They are not with everyone. Now, at what point of time everyone starts knowing what is the content of Bhagavatam is when the Bhagavatam appears through Shuka's mouth in that manner. So that's how you can understand that sometimes you may hear these personalities hearing Bhagavatam and all that. But is it the exact same Bhagavatam that we are listening to? It doesn't have to be. You take it to mean that it's the body of knowledge called Bhagavatam, like that.
okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have one more question on the purport. So let me just read the statement from Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada writes, quote, in the Shruti mantra, it is also stated that the absolute whole or Brahman is the ultimate source of everything. Everything emanates from him and everything is maintained by him, and at the end, everything enters into him. That is the law of nature. In the Smriti mantra, the same is confirmed. It is said that the source from which everything emanates at the beginning of Brahma's millennium and the reservoir to which everything ultimately enters is the absolute truth or Brahman. Unquote. So, Prabhu, my question is, what are the Shruti and Smriti mantras being referred to here by Srila Prabhupada?
Okay. These Shruti mantras and Smriti mantras are coming from Jiva Goswami's commentary, Prabhu. And these, yeah, they are mentioned by him in the commentary. So, these very popular Shruti mantras. So I mean, just quickly see in the commentaries. in which he quotes this, or maybe, okay, I can post it on the group. I'll post on the group, Prabhu. These references are directly from Srila Jiva Goswami's commentary. So the one Shruti mantra, it is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And Smriti mantra, I'll have to just see. I remember reading it. It's just that I'll have to revisit them. Exactly.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Amit Thakur, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Sorry, we are all taking so much time. I'm going to summarize my question in a manner to address it maybe next time or whenever you get a chance in future. I know today and even in the previous classes as well, you have talked about Chatushloki Bhagavatam, and you started to get into a little bit of meaning with Ahame Agreve, first shloka to start with. I was wondering, would you have time whenever in maybe next couple of classes to talk about those Chatushloki Bhagavatam, because I would really love to hear the explanation from you on those. Just a humble request, if that's something you can spend time on. That's request, no question.
Right. I'm sure some of the students may be wondering when are we going to complete the first verse itself like that. See, one thing is when the Chatushloki section will come, no, I will again come back to teach that for all of you. Chatushloki section is a very philosophical section, and then in order to get the precise understanding of that, I will only teach even in this batch Chatushloki, but that's quite after some time because it's second canto, 9th chapter.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe a brief understanding for a few minutes.
Yeah, just some sort of principal understanding of 4 verse if in the forthcoming sessions once I complete the main discussions, because now second and third verse will not be as elaborate as first verse. They will be little quicker. So if we get the opportunity, I will also speak in principle quickly on that if I get some time. In, I mean, not more than 15 minutes, I can speak something on that. But let's see, Prabhu. Yes, I mean, many of the questions I'm trying to answer and also give at least precise insight into everything so that you have a precise understanding of this text. So if we get time, we will do it. But yeah, let's first try to complete the section syllabus.
Thank you so much. Or maybe if we won't have time during the class, maybe if you
After the
ever
class.
think of us, maybe you can have a voice recording and leave it on WhatsApp group for us. That would be good enough.
Or I can give you the class, I mean, my explanation of Chatushloki somewhere where I have already spoken. It's just that it is very elaborate. Meaning
that's perfect.
Every single verse I have spoken for 2 to 3 hours. So then that's all. So
Yeah,
I'll share
would
that.
really love to hear that. If you can share that, that would probably be helpful for all of us.
I will take.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
take out those classes and share with you. Yes. No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your interest, keen interest to understand it.
Thank you.
Ekambaram Padmini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. We are trying to catch up with so many wonderful things that you are saying. But I do have a fundamental misunderstanding. I don't know about this Mayavati system because we were elaborately discussing. I was trying to catch up. Prabhu, Buddha himself is avatar of Vishnu, we say, and Shankaracharya is also avatars. That means they are all energy of Krishna himself. And you gave us a very nice explanation that Shankaracharya is almost like Buddhism, where we are talking about Shunya concepts. So why is it something similar to that bait and hook system, because he comes in those forms and then he makes these kind of changes so that people will get interested to know who he is. If you give a negative idea, people start following and then debating on that, and then original people like Vaishnavas can come and then convert them into the real system. Is that way it should be taken? Or
Yeah.
this is my understanding is very poor, Prabhu, because everybody thinks Buddha himself is Vishnu only, and Shankaracharya has so many much, particularly in South India. He is a reverend guru, and then we are definitely different from what his ideas are, Prabhu. So I don't understand this. Is this a way
Yeah.
a Lord would have thought? Or if I'm wrong, kindly forgive me, and then we'll
No
pronounce.
problem. No. This is an important question. And yes, this whole idea is discussed also by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in our tradition. This whole progression that happened from Buddha and all the way up to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's a progression, Mataji. It's a systematic progression that is bringing us to the final conclusion of the Shastra. So why did Shankaracharya preach that philosophy deliberately, Mayavad? Yes, multiple purposes.
We
Buddha
call it
himself,
Advaita. They
first of
call it
all,
Advaita here, Prabhu. We call it Advaita.
Advaita. Yeah, Advaita. They call it Advaita. Advaita, Mayavad, these are two most popular terms. And then another, the versions of that are philosophies like Vivartavada or Ekajivavada. These are all terms of that same philosophy called Mayavad or Advaitavada. Same thing. Many different, one of the acharyas, he comments that Mayavadis say that everything is one, but they cannot come to conclusion on what that one is. Because they have so many ideologies on what that one thing is. They have Ekajivavad, they have Drishti Srishtivad, they have Vivartavad. So the ideology has so many different opinions on that one. But anyway, so Buddha, why did he preach in that manner? Why did he preach rejecting the Vedas? You could say, first of all, Buddha, basically, he just wanted to stop the animal killing going on in the name of Vedas, Karma Kand. He saw rampant animal killing. It is said that those days, such was the animal killing happening on the Karma Kand scriptures authority that there would be pools of blood coming out from the houses of Brahmanas, the localities of Brahmanas. Why? Because they are, doing such heavy animal sacrifices that constantly the blood is coming out everywhere. So when Buddha saw this, Buddha was devastated and he felt, what is this? The fundamental principle of religion, which is ahimsa, non-violence, even that is not getting followed. All right, these sacrifices are mentioned, but there should be some limit of them. And also in Kali Yuga, hardly anyone has that power to sacrifice an animal and still elevate that animal to higher life. And that's how those days it would happen in the prior ages. If you sacrifice an animal, that animal would get a human form of life. Yeah. So they could not do it. So he said, just stop this. You cannot kill animals like this. Ahimsa is a basic principle. Ahimsa paramo dharma. And that's why Buddha came up with that philosophy where he just told that behave first of all like a man with discretion. Don't kill animals like that. You cannot understand spirituality if you kill animals and all. So he spoke on basic principles. So what happened was people started following Buddha, and he did not speak about any Vedas or anything. So naturally, Vedic authority was lost. Before that, people were following Vedas, but Buddha was such an empowered preacher and he was so charismatic that practically whole Bharatvarsha became follower of Buddha, especially with this Samrat Ashoka, this Emperor Ashoka becoming his follower. Buddhism just became rampant everywhere. So then there were no Vedas to be followed or anything because you just follow Buddha and his Dhamma, meaning his teachings on Dharma. So when Shankaracharya appeared on the scene, and this is quite much later than Buddha, it is like almost like more than 1,000 years later, 1,300 years later. By that time, actually the Buddhism had spread in every nook and corner, and Shankaracharya saw that, well, what has happened to this land of Bharatvarsha, where we see the Veda should rule, the Vedas, the scripture should govern, but we see all this Nastika philosophy, the philosophy that does not accept Vedas, that philosophy is ruling everywhere. And they're not talking about Supreme Lord, they're not talking about Upanishads, they're not talking about Brahman, and no worships are being performed, nothing, nothing. So Shankaracharya, he defeated Buddhists by debating. He also influenced the kings and all that. And in this way, he drove away all the Buddhists outside of Bharatvarsha. He practically brought back the entire Vedic authority. So that's his uh, unprecedented contribution. We all owe a great deal to Shankaracharya for that, because he brought back the Vedic authority, no doubt about it. And that's why we also, as Vaishnavas, we revere Shankaracharya. It's just that the philosophy that he preached, we don't accept that philosophy. Why he preached such a philosophy? Although he was empowered servant of the Lord, he is Lord Shiva himself. He preached because, first and foremost, he wanted to establish Vedas from the realm of Shunyavada. So he wanted to speak something which is very close to Buddhism, so that the Buddhist followers, they may not find it as some radical difference of philosophy. They may think, oh, okay, it's something like Buddhism only. It's just that instead of Shunya, you talk about Brahman, which is a positive aspect, and it is spoken in the Vedas themselves. So the philosophy, directly speaking, Krishna Bhakti and Vishnu Bhakti, that would have been very difficult for people's mindset, because they were already entrenched in Buddhism. So that's why, in order to first of all give a simple philosophy which is almost equivalent like that, he spoke Mayavad or Advaitavad philosophy. This was one reason. Second reason was also that it is mentioned by Bhaktivinoda that lot of devotees who were in the garb of devotees, but they were actually having this idea that I am non-different from Supreme Lord. So they were Mayavadis inside, but they were in the garb of devotees. They appeared like they're worshipping the Lord and all, but the understanding is like, well, I am only Supreme. It's just that I have to realize that I am Supreme. So Shankaracharya, by giving this philosophy, he separated the Vaishnavas and impersonalists, or the Mayavadis. So he did a very important task of giving this philosophy, and very forcefully he preached this philosophy. Thereby, those who were Mayavadis in the garb of devotees, they got separated. They immediately embraced this philosophy and said, yes, 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 this is the right philosophy. So in this way, he did some filtration. He separated the pure path of bhakti from the path of this mixed Advaita with bhakti. And you see, even in South India and in many other places, in North India also, we see so much of mixing of bhakti and Mayavad is there. They will perform bhakti, but they will think that in the end, everything becomes one. So that Shankaracharya's philosophy sort of separated these two categories in this way, like that. So those two purposes are talked about his philosophy very clearly. And then came Ramanuja, who gave, the pure philosophy of Vaishnavism. Madhvacharya gave the pure philosophy of Vaishnavism. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave pure philosophy of Vaishnavism. Now, there may be some additional revelation in each one of these. Ramanuja came and he gave pure devotional philosophy, but he used that word Advaita, which was not appreciated by Vaishnavas. That why is he using that word Vishishta Advaita? So Madhvacharya said, well, there is no Advaita. You don't talk about oneness. This oneness has done so much of damage, he said. So don't talk about oneness. Just talk about complete pure dualism, Dvaita. There is no oneness between living entity and the Supreme Lord. So he sort of took another extreme idea because of the damage done by the Mayavad philosophy. Although both of them are great exalted acharyas, they are devotees of the Lord, they are acharyas, they know everything. But you see, this is more like a gradual revelation plan of the Lord. And then in the end came Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where we see that even the higher aspects of that revelation come out by Krishna and Bhakti to Krishna and
Achintya
all
Bhed.
these aspects of Achintya Bheda Bheda. So Shankara's Advaita is one extreme and Madhva's Dvaita is another extreme. In between are these philosophies like Achintya Bheda Bhed or Vishishta Advaita or Swabhavika Bheda Bhed of Nimbarka. They fall in between. They're like golden mean. But otherwise, two extremes are there. So extremes are not good. So that's how we see Mataji. This whole arrangement is gradually brought the pure revelation of Vaishnava Acharyas. But then finally, Sampradayas, all Sampradaya we revere. Sri Sampradaya, we owe so much to Sri Ramanuja because he was the groundbreaking person who dealt with Shankaracharya's ideas and he demolished those Mayavadi arguments. So our Acharyas have shown great respect to Ramanujacharya and also Madhvacharya. He comes in our own tradition of Brahma Madhva. And taking from there Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it has built this huge edifice of pure Achintya Bhedabhed Tattva. So we owe a lot to these traditions, but still we will not say that we are exactly following Sri Vaishnava philosophy. No, because there is a higher revelation also in our Sampradaya. But this is a variety within Vaishnavism, and we can appreciate every single variety there. So all bona fide Vaishnavacharyas are there, but still within that Gaudiyas, they have a very unique flavor of bhakti. The kind of pure bhakti that is emphasized in Gaudiyas is. I study other traditions very well as a part of my own studies for my degree, and also as part of Shastric Advisory Council, we often study the other philosophies quite scrutinizingly. But I can tell you the way Gaudiyas have defined bhakti, it's not there in any other tradition. It is extraordinary explanation of what bhakti is. So that's how we do understand the similarity, contribution of other sampradayas, but also the uniqueness of Gaudiyas. Okay, Mataji?
Dandat Pranam Prabhu, you made it so clear to me. I have no words to thank you, but it's divine grace. I can understand what you said. It's made so easy, Prabhu. I am near to tears because always I had this problem of basic understanding and two extremes, and we are in between and in elevated bhakti state by Krishna's grace. And listening from you was really phenomenal. Thank you very much.
No, thank you so much, Simon. Very genuine question, and I appreciate that very much. All right, Tulasi Gopi Mataji, you want to ask anything or we can stop for today?
Just one quick request, Prabhuji. At the beginning in the Mangalacharan, you chanted the verses glorifying Bhagavatam, which ended by Asadhu Sadhuta Dain. Can you share those series of verses so whenever possible we can chant at home?
Mataji, I did share them actually on the group.
Oh,
Probably you might have missed. Yeah, you might have missed them. I think just check that. I have shared them both in Devanagari and also in English, meaning Roman transliteration, along with meaning. Yeah.
I think I'm not in the group. I joined
Mataji,
after 2
Tulsi
weeks.
Gopi Mataji, you joined late, so don't worry. I'll
Okay.
send you personally, okay?
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Can you add me? Thank you. Hare
You're
Krishna.
already added now, but you joined late and Prabhuji has sent it before, so I'll forward it to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mataji and Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So
Hare
take it there. All right. So thank you all very much. It's
Thank you,
45 minutes past, and I
Thank you.
appreciate all of your questions, but never ever feel pressurized to stay back for the discussion. Only if you are interested, please stay back, because in my classes, sometimes the question answers goes long, but always make sure that if you have to leave at 7, at appropriate time, please go ahead. Thank you very much. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna. Thanks, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Preeti Vilasni Mataji, you have to end the call.